I'm Pam Hayes from Hayes Sewing Machine Company, and welcome back. And today we're going to do a smaller quilt. We have deliberately chosen 9 blocks, and we're doing the pattern that is Oklahoma. And it is designed to do more than the 9 patch that we're going to be doing today, but ours is going to be focusing on how to, we have a really cute panel that had come into the store. And these are these guys. So it says, "My little star, let the adventure begin," and then "You are my universe." Isn't that cute? Mm-hmm. So there are three of My Little Star, 3 of Let the Adventure Begin, and then "You Are My Universe" has 2. So if you do the math, that's 8. So in the center here, we're going to do a yellow block. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. The only thing I'll tell you with this block, if you are doing it with a panel or a directional pattern, please make sure that it is up. And it always makes life easier. Same basic piecing to it. You'll see though that the larger block is up at the top for this one, down at the bottom, and then back up at the top again. Okay? And they have really good directions on how to work with that. All right, so today I'm going to be working with the 1/4 inch foot number 97. And what's lovely, this is a super simple block. You have your large block for the main piece. You have 2 on the sides, and then you have a corner block. So basically, I have lined up. I'm going to sew my 1/4 inch seam. And just going to sew down, and then I'm going to stitch this guy as well. Alright, so again we're going to do our 1/4 inch seam. Now, when I did the blocks that you see, Loretta, can you just focus on one of them here? All right.
Hold on for a second. We need to go out a little. There you go.
Okay. So when I did this one, I pressed the seam towards the dark, and then to get a nice kind of corner, I made sure that I went towards the square. Mm-hmm. Okay? So you just have to kind of, depends on, what type of fabric you're working with. So we're going to go over to the iron. This one I'm going to press towards the gray. So I'm going to press this one towards, away from the block. And we're going to go over, and I'm going to look. Because you know how it is, every time you move something, you have the possibility of changing it. So that's how I want it to have it lined up. Now, right here is where I'm going to put a quilt tack. Quilt tack, if you're not familiar with the term, you're going to do 2 or 3 stitches before the seam and after the seam. And you're making sure you're doing it at the 1/4 inch seam allowance. I open it up and I take a look, and that looks great to me. Now, the reason why you do that is because if you don't and you sew the whole seam and it's off, you have to unpick the whole seam. And that doesn't sound
fun. Not quilting is fun.
So we're going to line this up. Just make sure, again, you're sewing right through the quilt tack. All right. Give it a quick press. And ta-da! The block is done.
Super easy.
Super simple. Now we're going to sew a row together. Okay, so this is the second row that we're doing. So you see how I have my purple, which is the panel, and then this one's going to go together. And look, there's absolutely nothing to line up.
Woohoo!
I know, right? So when we go and put this together, we just have to sew it down. No quilt tack needed. All right, we're just going to sew down. Again. Give it a quick press. All right, take a look. It looks really visually complicated, and it is not. All right, doing my next guy. Again, just checking that it would be correct, and it is. It's going to be a good day, and I don't have to unpick anything.
Oh, always nice when a plan comes together.
When a plan comes together. All right, so we're going to sew. All right, so that is the whole row. I'm just going to give it a quick press. Okay, this one is my second row. So I'm just going to pin. So it's going to go like so. And this is where we will have our corners to line up. Mm-hmm. If you were concerned with it, make sure that you have your seam allowances pressed one way as opposed to the other. I just happened to hit a lucky. I got it.
Yeah, you didn't pay attention to it?
No, I didn't pay attention to it. All right, so I'm just going to put a pin in. And then I'm going to pin in this one. You could also use clips. But again, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in a quilt tack just to make sure everything is lined up how I like. So remember, quilt tack, 2 or 3 stitches before the seam, 2 or 3 stitches after. Open up. Looks good to me.
Pretty.
And then we're going to do the same thing on the other one. And the quilt tack, I didn't increase the length of stitch or anything. It's just the normal length. Looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so when I line this up, and I'm going to stitch, if you had, when you put 2 pieces of fabric together and you notice that one block was a little bit bigger than the other, you want to make sure that the bigger block goes down towards the feed dogs. These look pretty even, so I didn't worry too much about it. All right, this one here is pretty even. When I go to the next one, you can get little variations if, you know, a certain fabric can press differently. Not that we wouldn't be accurate with our 1/4 inch seam, never.
No, Never.
But you can have any sorts of variations like that.
And it's always better to adjust a little bit as you go.
Yep. Yeah, because on the size of these blocks, if I needed to, pull in a 1/4 inch, that should be fine. Check your math though. If when you line it up, you have 1 inch to adjust. All right. And look at that. That's 2 of the rows. And I'll be right back with the last. All right. Got the 3rd row on. This is what it looks like.
Woohoo!
All right. Now, when we measured it, because remember, we're not doing exactly the size of Oklahoma, okay? This ended up being like 33.5 inches side to side and up and down. This is the fabric that we're going to choose for the backing. Isn't that the cutest thing in the world? It's a matching coordinate, and I love them. They have little helmets on for being in space.
Oh.
Okay. So this one here, we're going to cut for the back 1 1/8 yard, 1 1/4 if you want to be on the safe side. And then we're doing this scrunch for the binding. Mm-hmm. This particular quilt doesn't have a border on it, but you could always add a border. It's kind of designed to be more of a modern quilt. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.